Good morning, students. Today in this video, we are going to study Chapter 1 Salvatore of your Echoes book. The objective of this video is to develop your interest in and appreciation of literature. Salvatore is a gripping story written by W. Somerset Maugham, who was born on January 25, 1874 at the British Embassy in Paris, France. He was the fourth son born to socialite and writer Edith Mary and Robert Maugham, a lawyer for the British Embassy. Maugham had an interest in making career in writing, thus with the publication of his first novel, Lisa of Lambeth, 1897, which sold out so rapidly that he gave up medicine to write full-time. In the story Salvatore, the author has beautifully portrayed the quality of goodness in his character Salvatore, who is an ordinary fisherman. He falls ill with rheumatism. Children, rheumatism is a disease that causes stiffness and pain in the muscles and swelling and pain in the joints. So, Salvatore falls ill with rheumatism, from which he never recovers, and the girl he loves abandons him. But he never complains and accepts the life happily as it comes to him. Now let's talk about the setting of the story. The major part of the story is set on an Italian island named Istria. Only for a brief period of time he left his island to become a sailor in the navy of King Victor Emmanuel. After setting, the another very important aspect of the story is the theme. Goodness is one of the important themes of the story, as this is what the author intended to portray through the character of Salvatore. One of the other themes that is depicted in the story is true love. The true love that Salvatore had for his family, home, fiancé, and then for his two children. Now let us see the summary of this story through this video.
The author has known Salvatore since the latter was a boy of 15. He is described as a person with a pleasant face, laughing mouth, and carefree eyes. He never wears shoes except on Sundays. He has two younger brothers and is very protective of them. Salvatore falls in love with a girl who lives on the Grande Marina. They are soon engaged. However, he is obliged to complete his military service. Soon enough, he joins the navy of King Victor Emmanuel as a sailor. Salvatore is miserable during his tenure with the navy. His tenure takes him to Spezia, Venice, Bari, and China. In China, he contracts rheumatism of some kind. It confines him to bed for several months. When he returns to Naples, he sees his family waiting eagerly at the shore. He doesn't see his fiancée. In the evening, Salvatore decides to go and see her in person.
So, have you received the letter I wrote to you saying that I was coming home?
Yes, we have. The island boys told us that you are ill.
Yes, that is why I am back. Is it not a piece of luck?
Oh, but we have heard that you will never be quite well again.
Well, you know how the doctors keep saying such things. But I really feel that I will make a speedy recovery now that I am home.
Salvatore, look, I don't think I can marry someone who will never be strong enough to work like a man. We have made up our mind. Papa, Mama and I. My father will never consent to me marrying you.
I understand.
A few months later, he is a settled man working in his father's vineyard. Salvatore's mother tells him that a girl named Assunta wants to marry him. They are soon married. They settle down in a small house with a big vineyard. Salvatore becomes a big, husky fellow, tall and broad. He still has those trusting, kindly eyes that he had as a boy. Assunta grows into a woman with a grim visage and looks older for her years. However, she is good at heart and is a doting wife. Soon enough, they become parents to 2 boys. Salvatore, despite his ill health, works very hard to earn his livelihood. Whenever rheumatism makes it painful to work, he lies about the beach smoking and being nice to strangers, notwithstanding the terrible pain. The author concludes Salvatore's story with a description of his laugh and a statement about the similarity of the eyes of Salvatore and his child.
I hope that the story is clear to you from the video that you have seen recently. Now let us talk about the style. The first point in style is narrative methodology. Now what is narrative methodology? It involves storytelling technique, the technique in which the writer has written the story. The story Salvatore is written in third person narration. Third person narration means the narrator is narrating the story. The characters are not speaking anything. They are mute. The second point in style is chronology. Chronology means the arrangement of events in order of their occurrence. When you have seen the video, you would have noticed that the story flows in a proper sequence. Salvatore at the age of 15, then when he grew up, the moment he left his island to become the sailor, then he came back home when he was rejected, then Salvatore's marriage. So the story is going in a proper sequence, so it is known as chronological order. Now let us talk about the next point of style, that is language. The author has used simple descriptive language in the story. He has not used any complex word. He just wanted to narrate the simple concept, the central theme of the story that our character possess, that is goodness. The next style is simile. Simile, it is a figure of speech that is used to show difference between two things by using two specific words as and like. In the story, you would see this example. His brown body as thin as rail. He wept like a child. So both these similes are used for Salvatore. Now let us start the reading of the story Salvatore, chapter 1 by W. Somerset Maugham. Before reading the chapter, let us write the meaning of stanza 1. I here refers to narrator. Next to nothing means wearing very less clothes. As thin as a rail is a literary device, that is simile. Clumsy means awkward. Effortless stroke. So first of all, write on the meaning of word effortless. It means showing little effort. And stroke means to rub gently in one direction. Now let us read the story. I wonder if I can do it. The narrator immediately catches our attention by using the very first line. I knew Salvatore first when he was a boy of 15 with a pleasant face, a laughing mouth, and carefree eyes. He used to spend the morning lying about the beach with next to nothing on, and his brown body was as thin as a rail. He was full of grace. He was in and out of the sea all the time, swimming with the clumsy, effortless stroke common to the fisher boys. So the very first paragraph gives us the character sketch of Salvatore. Please underline the word pleasant face, a laughing mouth, and carefree eyes. Whenever you have got to write the character sketch of Salvatore, you have to mention these words. He did not have a muscular body, rather he was very slim. Those days, boys did not go out anywhere, they do swimming and learn by trial and error method, which the narrator has cleared with the word clumsy, effortless stroke that were common to the fisher boys. Now come to next stanza, but before doing it, let us do its word meaning. First word is scrambling. It means to move with urgency. Cry of delight, extreme happiness. Nursemaid, one who looks after children. Inshore, moving towards shore. Ventured, exposed to hazards. Vineclad, covered with wine. Wine here refers to grapevine. Frugal, simple, costing, little. Now let us start with reading. Scrambling up the jagged rocks on his hard feet, for except on Sundays he never wore shoes. He would throw himself into the deep water with a cry of delight. His father was a fisherman who owned his own little vineyard, and Salvatore acted as nursemaid to his two younger brothers. He shouted to them to come inshore when they ventured out too far, and made them dress when it was time to climb the hot, vine-clad hill for the frugal midday meal. The narrator is telling that he here refers to Salvatore, he quickly climbed the sharp rocks with his bare feet. He does not wear shoes. Only on Sundays he wore shoes. Now why did he wear shoes on Sundays? The reason was that on Sundays he used to go to church. That is why he wore shoes. He was like a nursemaid to his two younger brothers. Nursemaid means he took care of. His two younger brothers, he not only took care of them but also dressed them for their meals whenever they have to take lunch. Now let us start with the next stanza. First of all, come to the meaning. Meaning of word apace means quickly. Grand Marina, island in southern Italy. Caesars, ruler of Rome. Affianced, engaged to be married. To become a sailor, a person who works on a boat or a ship as a part of crew. Beck and call of others at someone's service. Now let us start with the reading. But boys in those southern parts grow apace, and in a little while he was madly in love with the pretty girl who lived on the Grand Marina. She had eyes like forest pools and held herself like a daughter of the Caesars. They were affianced, but they could not marry till Salvatore had done his military service. And when he left the island, which he had never left in his life before, to become a sailor in the navy of King Victor Emmanuel, he wept like a child. We have read earlier that Salvatore was a boy of 15. Now he is a grown-up boy, and in a little while he was madly in love with a girl who lived on the Grand Marina. The author had described about the girl that she had beautiful eyes and carried herself as she had come from a royal family. That is why the author had used the line, held herself like a daughter of the Caesars. They both were engaged, but could not marry till Salvatore had done his military service. So Salvatore left his home. He left his island, which he had never left before, in order to do the military training in the navy of King Victor Emmanuel. He was so connected to his family and his island that on parting with him he wept like a child. It was hard for one who had never been less free than the birds to be at the beck and call of others. It was harder still to live in a battleship with strangers instead of in a little white cottage among the vines. And when he was ashore, to walk in noisy, friendless cities with streets so crowded that he was frightened to cross them when he had been used to silent paths and the mountains and the sea. He was a free bird on his island, and it was very difficult for him to work for someone, and it was more difficult for him to live with strangers. He kept on remembering his little white cottage among the vines where he used to live with his family. He did not like the noisy cities, as he had been used to silent paths and the mountains and the sea. I hope that you have understood the text. Your today's homework is to read the summary at page number 6 till 8 in workbook and reread page number 6 of the textbook. Remember one thing, that you have to read the text again so that you can quote important keywords and lines from the text. So keep reading your text again and again. Thank you.